had a few tenths more speed in it than our best car. So the car that we had slated for the Daytona 500. So with all that, it's nice to have the speed, and we'll take it from there. Go out today, make some more single car runs, make sure we get the attitude of the car right, and there aren't any tire rubs or any of that kind of stuff that can plague you, and take it from there.
Great. We're going to open it up for questions, so please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start with Jordan, and we'll go up here to Tom.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. Jimmy, can you take me through the process after Thursday? You went to the third car. Was it the scramble? Did you guys know right away we had this car back in the shop, we're going to be okay? Or was there a bit of, getting your heads together, trying to figure out what the game plan was from there?
Chad has, always has a plan. When I left the infield care center, I went to the bus, and I didn't know anything until the next morning, and I walked in for practice, and there was a painted 48 car sitting there. I assumed it would be a wrap around the car, and we unloaded an 88 car or a 24. And that's kind of how we've been in years past. We'll build two, and then focus on Phoenix and Vegas, and really the rest of the season. So I knew there'd be a car, but I thought it would be a sticker wrap instead of a paint job. And I was pleasantly surprised to see it was paint, and I knew that, of course, Chad had his bases covered. And then it really just boiled down to speed, what kind of speed the car had in it. And that was a welcome surprise to see that it was a little quicker than the car we had slated for the final.
Go to Tom and then back to Bob.
Hi Jimmy, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. One of the more notable things about this race is a lot of really great guys never win it. What's so hard about winning this race, and what does it take to put yourself in position to win?
Plate racing is so different than the racing we all grow up doing, competing, perfecting, and just working on that skill set. And here, it's we've heard the comparisons to playing chess, and it kind of is that way. I mean, you spend more time playing defense, and your defensive moves and blocks create your opportunity to pass and to win. And then the timing of when people's decisions behind you, when they take place, and if you're able to block it, gives you that surge down the backstretch or through 3 and 4 that brings you to the finish line. So it's just different. It's a different mindset, and I think you have to work really hard to change your mindset at these 4 tracks in order to be successful. And all that being said, Earnhardt would probably be the exception to that, with how many plate races he won and how long it took to win down here. I think he just had a black cloud over him for all those years and wasn't able to get it. But it's a totally different mindset of racing.
A quick follow-up. In the first 3 Cup races we've seen here, there was not a last lap pass for the victory. There was almost one, but nobody made that pass. Has that changed? Will we likely see a last lap pass for the victory tomorrow, or is a new car making that more difficult?
I've been surprised when I've been in second how little of a run I've had at the leader. I felt like this taller spoiler would increase that closing rate and really help out. It's created that opportunity further back in the pack, and there's a lot more energy in the meat of the pack, but near the front, there's been a little less closing rate, and not necessarily closing rate, but when you pull out, I guess the air gets on that tall spoiler, and it's like throwing a parachute and it stops you. The other component to that, though, is I think we've crashed before we got to had a chance to get to the stripe. The Unlimited, there just wasn't a big enough field to create the energy. And then us running out of gas prevented the opportunity for something to take place in the duel.
Okay, we're going to go to Bob and then over to Marty.
Bob Packer, Sporting News. It's been 10 years since Dale Jr. won the Daytona 500, and his last plate win was 2004. Do you sense any frustration from him, having finished second in 3 of the last 4 Daytona 500s? And what do you remember about him plate racing 10 years ago that made him so dominant?
Definitely know he's irritated by not winning. I mean, he's an extremely competitive guy and wants to win. I mean, I know last year he was probably a lap or 2 away from having a shot at the win. He just kind of ran out of distance. He made a great move and got second, and he's very sharp and understands how to set up a pass for the win. So I know he wants to win, and I know he's irritated that he's been so close. And I guess it may boil into a little bit of frustration. You know, he's a competitive guy and wants to win. The difference, you know, things have changed so much with the draft. Yeah, I feel like last year's combination was very similar to the generation of car when Junior won. I know that the 13 rules package felt a lot like the 06, 07, you know, in that time frame, in what the cars did and how they react and how you set up passes. And I want to say even maybe Junior's stats reflect that. I know mine certainly do. It was kind of a dry spell through some of the Gen 5 stuff, especially the push drafting. A lot of DNFs, although we did have one win, but you know, our average is way down. And I'm not sure. You probably have to ask him, but I think we have similar reasons why our style of drafting fits the Gen 6 car, and maybe his stats reflect that too.
Yeah, we're going to end it over here with Marty. Jimmy's on a pretty tight schedule this morning.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Johnson, when you hear criticism that your dominance and your 6 championships in 8 or 9 years is detrimental to NASCAR and the industry, what's your reaction to that criticism?
It's a short-sighted comment. You know, there's so many components and pieces to our sport, and that you know, that's just a fan of another competitor with a narrow mindset or short-sighted mindset. You know, there's so many pieces of the puzzle, as we all know, from the economy. We look at the construction that's going on out here and understanding how this stadium is going to be upgraded very soon to be current, and this facility is going to be like a football stadium before long. I was talking to Shani about that this morning. She couldn't believe that there aren't the mezzanine levels for concession stands and restrooms and all that stuff. I mean, when you really break down the sport and when you know the sport, you know, there's a lot of areas that need work, and everybody's addressing that, and one driver's dominance is not the reason why.
Jimmy, really appreciate you coming in this morning, and good luck.